Hey Tara, it's Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and I'm going to show you how I cut prescription lenses with an anti-glare coating for your new Coach. What is this? The Coach Adelle. Take a look at this thing. Of course, you got the Coach case. I can do it. Without hurting myself. You got the Coach cleaning cloth that comes with it with the kissing C's. Hopefully you can see that in there. Let me close this up, and I can leave it open. I'll set it right there. But this is your Coach frame in the, what color is this? Black/berry, the Coach Adelle 534. Great plastic frame with spring hinges, a little bit of a burgundy color, and it's got the kissing C's going all the way down it. Let me make sure everything's in focus here. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take out your original demo lenses that come in the frame. Pop those out real quick. Put your Coach frame into my $30,000 Santanelli, the LE1000 patternless edger. And the stylus is going to come up and trace the shape of your right lens, then it's going to move over and trace the shape of your left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy a genuine, authentic frame and you receive free single vision prescription or non-prescription fashion lenses, whatever you choose. But in your case, we're going with prescription, and you told me it'd been a minute since you'd worn some prescription glasses. So girl, you're gonna see a lot better. So your pupillary distance is 64.5. I'm gonna type that in there. This is a polycarbonate lens that I'm gonna cut on the soft cycle, meaning I'm just gonna cut a little bit slower because you have an anti-glare coating on this lens. And this is a Xyle frame, which is just an old school name for plastic. So that is it. That's the shape of your lenses, and I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting. So your right lens reads, let's pick up the right lens, -250, -1 1/4 at 5. So I'm going to turn, let me zero in my, this is a Marco 101 lensometer. This is how I can read prescription off of lenses. I'm going to take your lens out, spin the axis wheel to 5. That is the axis of your right eye. The powers are -250 and -1 1/4. I'm going to spin the power drum to -250. Put your lens in, spin it around till I find the optical center and the sphere power is coming in clearly. I check your astigmatism, also known as the cross curve. And I should have put ink in this thing because I remember yesterday it was getting low. So I'm putting 3 dots on your lenses, 3 dots that are impossible for you to see, but I can see them. So I'm going to darken these with my pen for you. This is a 180 meridian, and this is the right eye. Your lens cannot be rotated when it goes in there because of your astigmatism, and I'll explain your astigmatism. Because girl, you got crazy stigs. Alright, so the axis is 165. I'm going to spin the axis wheel to 165. Your powers are -275 and -150. I'm going to put it on -275. Find the sphere power, your optical center. Lock everything down. Another one, what is it, 150? We're good. Let's put some dots on this lens, and then we can start cutting. Well, we actually got to block them first. Hang on, there's a dot, there's a dot. Everywhere there's a dot. All right, that's the L for the left lens. Now this is called a block. This is what's going to hold it in place while it's cutting. I need to stick this onto your lens. Ooh, how's that for special effects? Look how small it gets. But 3M, the same people who make post-it notes, make a double-sided adhesive sticker. The black side is the sticky side. I'm going to stick that onto the block, pull away the tape to make this side sticky, and then essentially what I'm looking into is the little crosshairs. Just like a scope, I have a vertical meridian and a horizontal one, and those 3 dots I put on there, I want to get them lined up on that straight line in the background. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the left. Get a block, put a sticky pad on there, pull the tape away, and now we are ready to go. Get everything lined up again just the way it's supposed to be. Now because that anti-glare coating, it does many things, but one of the other side effects of it, and it's a good side effect, is it's a hydrophobic lens, meaning that coating hates water. The same way you wax a car and it rains, the rain beads right off. Well, the same thing happens with your lens. So I put another little sticker on the back so it really grabs inside, because you never need a liquid again to clean your lens. Whatever liquid gets on there just beads right off. All you will ever need is a cleaning cloth that I'm going to give you, and of course the Coach one that's in your that comes with your case. But I'm going to put it into the calipers and into the chuck, or as I like to say, the Charles, because I don't know it well enough to call it chuck. But these calipers are going to come down, and it's going to trace the shape of your right lens onto your prescription lens to make sure this lens is large enough. It's starting with the concave side first. which is the back surface, the rear surface closest to your eyelashes, and then it's going to move forward and it's going to trace the convex side of your lens, which sits away from the face. Don't worry, that's not blood, that's ink from from my lensometer. And also measure the thickness of the lens to know where to place the bevel. Now the actual cutting wheel is down here on the bottom left. It's that lighter color wheel. It's going to act like a heavy grit sandpaper to grind away the polycarbonate material. And that wheel in the center with that valley, that channel, that's what's going to cut the bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the frame. I will have to close the door, but for now I just want you to see as your prescription lens touches down. So, your lenses, there's 3 main lens materials, although the first one, glass, has gone by the way of the dinosaur, which leaves plastic and polycarbonate. Plastic is the most common and the least expensive lens I use, but plastic is half the weight of glass. Well, that leaves polycarb. Polycarb is 40% thinner and lighter than plastic, which is half the weight of glass. So much thinner, much lighter. It also has, your lenses are virtually unbreakable. They are bulletproof up to 22 caliber and has both UVA and UVB protection. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin, where your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So this is like permanent sunscreen for your eyes. You never have to worry about reapplying like you have to do with creams, lotions, sprays, all of that stuff. Now the anti-glare coating itself that's on, and not only that, hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself. Not only are they the thinner, lighter weight lenses, unbreakable, bulletproof, UV protection, I know I went over that, but it's also an aspheric lens. A spherical lens without the letter A in front. Spherical is much rounder, gives you an ugly fishbowl cosmetic appearance. This has a flatter curvature that's going to stay inside the frame perfectly and look very, very nice. Now the anti-glare coating, which we had spoken about, it's 3 features in one. It's an anti-glare lens first, while eliminating glare, especially when driving at night in the rain from oncoming headlights, but from street lights, stoplights, overheads, computer screens, fluorescent lights. It's also a reflection-free lens, so when someone's looking at you, they're not going to be looking at their reflection in your glasses. So it's going to be much better eye contact. Plus, if anyone ever takes a picture with the flash, you won't see the flash lit up in the lens like you can see the reflection of the fluorescent lights overhead on the lens in my right hand, but not on yours with that anti-glare coating. Anti-reflective coating it also goes by, but the third feature that I like, the practical side, is it comes with the hardest scratch coating of any lens, because they're going to protect that anti-glare coating, which is a laminate across the top. So that's why I cannot tint your lenses. The scratch coating on here is so strong, it just will not allow a hot dye to penetrate into the lens. So if you notice, there is water running in the background, but polycarbonate cuts dry where plastic and high index cut wet. In just a moment, there's 2 water jets that are going to kick in. They do this in the very last 20 seconds of the cutting cycle, and it's just to wash away any optical debris, or essentially, optical sawdust, if you will. There we go. So we're in the last 20 seconds of the cutting cycle. This is the bevel wheel. If I hadn't been running my mouth the whole time, I would have shown you that your lens was actually completely flat at the edges while it is cutting on that cutting wheel on the left. Now when it's inside that channel, it's getting the bevel put on there, which is essentially like a knife-like edge. A very dull knife, but a knife-like edge, if you will. It's so sharp you can cut a wet piece of tissue paper with it, providing you soak the tissue in a bucket of water overnight and then press really hard on the lens. I think you could cut through it. Alright, so I'm about to take your lens out, and because of the hydrophobic coating, which is the anti-glare coating, I'm going to take a paper towel and dry your lens off so that it's not slippery, because it's embarrassing when you drop one on live TV. Now you still have some little rough edges going around, just little burrs, if you will, left over from the cutting cycle, so I want to smooth those off. And I'm going to use my hand stone, which is completely flat. I can put my finger on it while it's running, and my finger gets warm because of the friction, but it is that friction that allows me to go around the outside of your lens and smooth everything out. You see a white powdery substance around the edge. I'm going to use my thumbnail to scrape all of that off. That is called Schwarf. That is the last of your optical sawdust. And once it has all been removed, I drop it on the counter and I collect it into one pile, then very neatly and very carefully I wipe it on the floor. This is where I say, kids, stay in school. I went to school for years to learn how to make a mess like that. So if you want to grow up and make a mess, kids, you gotta stay in school. So let's see if your lens fits. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner first, and then using my thumbs, I'm going to press down at the nose. There's still a little bit of give. So I'm going to take it out and I'm going to cut it down just a little bit more. I programmed the machine to cut just a little bit large on first time around, just because the golden rule, you can always cut more off of a lens, as you're about to see. You can never add it back on once you get it too small. So I start a little bit large for the right lens. Once I get the size just perfect, I'm going to flip it over and we're going to cut your left lens. And yes, everyone relax, I'm wearing brown pants today. There was a couple videos yesterday where I was wearing my pink pants, caused a stir on YouTube and on Facebook. Everyone had to leave some comments. So I'm wearing brown today to go with the brown and tan in my shirt. And of course, I'm wearing the Ray-Ban 2132, size 52, in color, I believe this is 6012, which is the tortoise and beige. This is the classic tortoise that you had seen for years and years. Once they came out with this tortoise beige, I actually liked it because it looked a little bit richer. The orange came out. You'd almost have to hold them up to the light to see any color in the traditional classic tortoise. This one indoors, plus the summertime wearing whites and linens. I decided to put this one on today because it was definitely more matching. For those of you keeping score at home on what color of glasses I'm wearing today, alright, so I've taken 1/10 of a millimeter off, and a millimeter, to all my American friends, people worldwide know this, but my friends in America, a millimeter is the distance between my thumbnails. I just took 1/10 of that distance off going around the circumference of your lens, just to make it a little bit smaller so it'll go inside your frame easier. The reason why I take a little bit more off each time is that I don't want to force it into your, here we go, I'm just drop it on the counter, you know what's coming next. Collect it all and whee! Alright kids, I hope you were noticing that. So, alright, let me start again. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner, and using my thumbs I'm going to press down at the nose, and it snaps in easily. The reason why I don't want to force it, it could cause your frame to stretch or warp, or worse, it's called rolling. If you can imagine your frame being like a gutter on your house, if it was in there too tight, your gutter would start to turn this way and cause the frame to roll and the lens to want to pop out. That is poor work. I'll never do it. So I flipped it over to left. I'm going to hit start, and just like before, the caliper is going to come down and they're going to trace the frame of the lens again, but this time they're going to trace the shape of the left side of the frame onto the lens to make sure it's large enough to cut out. Starting with the concave surface first, the back surface, the rear first surface closest to your eyelashes, then it's going to move over and trace the convex side of the lens. And that concludes your vocabulary lesson of the day. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. Now as soon as your left lens begins cutting, I'm going to go ahead and continue to work on the right lens. Come on, start up your old machine. This thing costs $30,000. You think it would start faster than that? How much you got to pay to make this thing run faster? And go. So, this block is no longer needed. I'm going to go ahead and take that off of your lens, pulling that little plunger down, pull the sticker off, return the block back to the bin, getting ready for next time. I'm going to pull the blue sticker off, stick that on the counter. I'm going to dry the lens off so there's no moisture. And if you can see, I've still got the red dot on your lens. That's your optical center. That's going to sit directly in front of your pupil. So I'm going to place that dot inside my viewfinder. I'm going to spin the axis wheel back to 5. Put your lens in right at that dot at your optical center and read the prescription. And I'm getting -250, which is the prescription in your right eye. I'm going to check your astigmatism correction, and I am getting 375. If someone owed you $2.50 and then they borrowed another $1.25, they would owe you 375. So that is the final power I'm reading. 3, 3 1/4, 350, 375, 4. So your right lens is made correctly. Now your prescription reads, you've heard of ounces, gallons, and pounds. Well, in the optical world, the unit of measurement we use is called a diopter, spelled D-I-O-P-T-E-R. and it goes in quarter increments, starting at 0 being no prescription, also saying plano, but it goes up quarter, 50, 0.75, 1, 1 and a quarter, 150, and so on. You need 2.5 steps. That is 10 steps of correction for your nearsightedness. So you can see up close very well, but you need these to see far away. So if this were a ladder, you're on the 10th rung of a ladder. This is your right eye, minus 250, minus 1 and a quarter at 005, also known as 5. And then the left is minus 275, minus 150 at 165. So for your right eye, you need 10, without your glasses on, everything is much larger in real life than it really appears. So your lenses will minify. It is the opposite of magnify. Your lenses will minify everything you look at to the correct size. Now this number is your astigmatism correction. There is a stigma over the word astigmatism. It just means shape. It's like someone has straight hair, someone has curly hair. That is it. It is not a disease, folks. It is not an affliction, but everyone freaks out when they hear that word. This number makes everything the correct size. This number takes away the fuzzy edges. Astigmatism is the fine-tune knob, or the opposite of that, because it makes 6s and 8s, the letters P and F look alike. So you're at 250 here, then you need an additional 5 steps to correct the fuzziness. And if you think of it as a fine-tune knob, we have a number from 0 to 180. That is the fine-tune knob, from 0 to 180 in a circle. So we essentially just have to turn that knob just a little bit for the right eye. Now this could be, these first two numbers on both sides are real values. This last number is just an arbitrary number anywhere from 0 to 180, and it doesn't mean anything. Your left eye is minus 275, minus 150 at 165. So you actually need an 11th step of correction, just one additional here. So you're on the 11th rung of the ladder, and you need another quarter step in astigmatism correction. So your combined powers here, let me do some math, will be 4 1/4. And this time we're going to turn it, that fine-tune knob, past 90, almost to 180, but we're going to stop at 165. And that is that, and that's what's going to make you see so much better, Tara. Driving at night has not been fun for you. I know your daughter's been complaining, and the force must be strong with you, young Jedi, because I don't know how you get around, girl. Once you put these on, you are not going to want to take these off. So I'm going to scrape that Schwarf off the edge of your lens. I do this so much, and I'll show you tomorrow, I've worn a V-shaped bevel into my thumbnail. My friends call it my occupational thumbnail. But once it's all collected on the counter, pay attention, kids.